So we're only a week into the NBA season, but the Utah Jazz are sitting at 3-0. They look like one of the best teams in the entire NBA, and they've taken down finals contenders in the Western Conference. Nuggets, Timberwolves. Last night was the Pelicans. It's crazy. But there's one thing I'm really noticing about this Utah Jazz team that I haven't seen too many people pick up on because, well, mainly, I don't think too many people are watching the Utah Jazz right now. The vibes, the culture, not only in the first week of the season, but all off season, once they started making their moves, once they started getting their new additions, Rudy Gobert was traded away, Donovan Mitchell was traded away, the vibes in the locker room, the way these guys are interacting with each other, the way they're appearing on the Utah Jazz YouTube channel even, it seems they're all so happy. Everybody is so happy on this team. And it's so fun to watch because they're knocking down really great basketball teams. Lauri Markkanen, you see this Chicago flag. He used to play for my Chicago Bulls. I'm a huge Lauri Markkanen fan. He's currently averaging, 27 points? Yesterday, 31, 12, 2 steals, a block. I mean, Lauri Markkanen is a walking bucket in general, and right now he's completely going off the rails. You still have your OG veteran guys like Mike Conley, who's one of the most underrated point guards in the entire NBA. You still have Jordan Clarkson, who we've heard Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz staff rave so much about Mike Conley. He's literally one of the most underrated point guards of my generation. Hasn't done anything crazy on the box score so far this season, but that's not why he's here. He's facilitating, he's playmaking, he's keeping the vibes up. Jordan Clarkson right there with him. It surprised me that Jordan Clarkson was 30 years old, 18.6 assists last night. He's also been a walking bucket for him this season. Kelly Olynyk. I remember watching Kelly Olynyk play for the Houston Rockets right when he got traded in that James Harden Rockets rebuild year where they only won 17 games. Kelly Olynyk, they had to not re-sign Kelly Olynyk because he was literally too good. I mean, people don't understand this. Kelly Olynyk on the Houston Rockets was a 20-point-per-game scorer. Look it up. He's a 20-point-per-game scorer. Now, he wasn't with us for the whole season, but when he was, he too was a walking bucket. But not only can he do his thing on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball, but just like Mike Conley, just like Jordan Clarkson, he's helping contribute to just the culture. The vibes of the locker room, the vibes on the court. You see it. You don't even have to watch a whole Utah Jazz game. You can just watch a Utah Jazz highlight game so far from one game this season, and you see it immediately. They're happy. They're smiley. And Kelly Olynyk is a huge piece of that. He's a huge piece of that pie. So I'm not saying Utah Jazz playing. I saw a hot take or a theory that Danny Ainge is too old to rebuild and that he's just going to do his thing this season. I don't necessarily think Utah is trying to completely tank for this entire season. Realistically, I guess they should. However, I will counter with this because I've seen a lot of teams, a lot of fans of NBA teams who are just not trying to win basketball games because of Victor Wembanyama. First off, your chance of getting Victor Wembanyama is very, very low. Not saying Utah, but just in general. Everybody's chances, it's low, right? Victor Wembanyama in less than a year and a half has had 3 major surgeries. So with Vic, it's going to come down to just pure health. Can he stay healthy? But relatively, nonetheless, it's still a gamble. It's still a gamble. So I don't care that Utah's 3-0 right now because not only do you have this just bundle of draft picks, they have this huge bundle of draft picks, you also have a huge bundle of talent that you acquired along with those draft picks. We look at this team, guys like Lauri Markkanen, Jared Vanderbilt, Walker Kessler was a great draft pick. We'll talk about him in a second. Colin Sexton, THT, Oche, they're just a really deep, young, solid team. Okay? And they have a nice blend of older veteran talent. Guys like Kelly Olynyk, guys like Mike Conley, guys like Jordan Clarkson. Their bench is really cool as well. Walker Kessler, I'm waiting on him to start taking some threes because that was one of the things he was really solid at in college. But block party. The other night he had 4 blocks, continues just playing solid last night, +9, 7 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. Walker Kessler, there were a lot of guys who really wanted Walker Kessler on their basketball team. They didn't care where he was taken. So it's just food for thought, man, that Vic is a huge gamble, and I see all these teams, all these fans of these teams just willing to do whatever it takes to get Vic, and it's like, I get it. We haven't necessarily seen a prospect like him since Zion or Anthony Davis. I'm not going as far as LeBron James, but it comes with a risk. So I'm curious, Jazz fans, what do you guys want to happen this season? Because winning is really fun. Winning is awesome. 3-0. I'm 3-0 right now. I'm not saying this is a final contending team. I'm just saying the sky's the limit. Nobody really knows how to guard them right now. No one really knows what they're looking at. And they're shocking teams. And even in that game against New Orleans, their offense started to falter in the fourth quarter. They started getting a little sloppy. They finished with 16 turnovers. It wasn't a crazy great game for Utah. They still came away with the win on the road. On the road. There are people who think the New Orleans Pelicans could win the NBA Finals. I think the New Orleans Pelicans are a very talented basketball team. Jared Vanderbilt was a huge acquisition in that Minnesota Rudy Gobert trade. I am, for Minnesota's sake, losing him was a big loss. It was a big loss, okay? 5 of 7 last night, 2 of 3 from downtown, 15 points, 4 rebounds. But what is he great at? Defense. Last night he had 4 steals and a block. He's also going to contribute to winning basketball. He's also very young. Moving on to the bench, I'm excited about Fontecchio. Didn't see him play. We haven't seen him play yet, but I'm excited about him nonetheless. Rudy Gay, another one of those veterans that, is he going to get traded? Who really knows? I'm not quite sure what's going to go down. Colin Sexton, Malik Beasley, that's your backcourt bench duo. Malik hasn't necessarily had the best start to the season. I guess neither has Colin Sexton, but for the most part, whenever both of them are out on the court, whether it's together or they're staggering, I know they're the same bench unit, but you get my point. When they're out on the court, they're making your team better. Colin Sexton last night, although he shot 2 of 10 from the field, got you a couple steals, and he also finished with the team high plus 11. So don't sleep on Colin Sexton. I mean, this guy was a 25-point-per-game scorer just a couple of seasons ago before he got injured and pushed out of his starting point guard role from DG to PG. Taylor Horton-Tucker has not been the best. I still like his defense. He dropped 40 right before last season. Right? I mean, he wasn't on the Jazz, but right before the end of the season last year, dropped 40, with 41, 40 on the dot. I'm still hopeful for Taylor. He's still extremely young. He technically has championship experience, and it hasn't necessarily worked out so far, but we're 3 games in. So defensively, he's still going to show up every single time he's out on the court. That's it for today. If you guys want more Utah Jazz content, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let me know down below. But go ahead, drop some love on the Jazz. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this season.